You ever notice how you can handle someone being rude, dismissive, even cold, but when someone is genuinely kind to you, your whole body goes on high alert? Your chest gets tight, your mind starts racing, you're looking for the catch, the angle, the moment when they're going to pull it back and show you what they really want. That's not paranoia. That's not you being difficult or damaged. That's your nervous system remembering every time kindness came with conditions. Because here's what nobody tells you. When you grow up in a place where love had terms and conditions, where affection was something you had to earn or maintain, where someone being sweet to you one minute could turn into criticism the next, your brain doesn't learn that kindness is safe. It learns that kindness is the warning sign. It's the calm before the storm. It's the setup before the letdown. So now, years later, when someone is just nice to you, no strings, no agenda, your body doesn't know what to do with it. You're waiting. You're braced. You're scanning their face for micro-expressions, analyzing their tone for sarcasm, replaying their words to find the hidden insult. Not because you want to, because you've been trained to. Think about it. Maybe you had a parent who was lovely in public, but completely different behind closed doors. Maybe they complimented you right before pointing out everything you did wrong. Maybe they bought you something nice and then held it over your head for months. Maybe the kindest moments were always followed by the cruelest ones, so your brain learned to connect the two. Kindness became the red flag, the predictor, the thing that meant you needed to prepare yourself. And that's the thing about growing up like that. You don't just remember it in your thoughts, your body remembers it in your muscles, your breath, your heartbeat. So when someone at work brings you coffee just because, or a friend texts to check on you for no reason, or someone compliments you without asking for anything back, your system doesn't recognize it as safe. It recognizes it as familiar, and familiar meant danger. This is why you might find yourself more comfortable around people who are a little rough around the edges, people who are direct, blunt, even a bit harsh. Because at least with them, you know where you stand. There's no guessing, no waiting for the switch to flip. Their honesty, even if it's uncomfortable, feels more predictable than someone's sweetness. Because sweetness, in your experience, was often the mask people wore right before they hurt you. You're not broken for feeling this way. You're not incapable of receiving love. You're just operating with a different instruction manual than people who grew up with consistent, safe affection. They learned that a hug is just a hug. You learned that a hug might be an apology in advance for something they're about to do. They learned that "I'm proud of you" means you did well. You learned that "I'm proud of you" might come with a "but" that erases the whole thing. So now, when someone is too nice, your brain is doing what it was trained to do. It's protecting you. It's saying, "Hold on, we've seen this before and it didn't end well." It's trying to keep you from dropping your guard so you don't get blindsided again. It's not that you don't want kindness, it's that your system has categorized kindness as a potential threat based on years of evidence. And here's where it gets even more complicated, because this response doesn't just make you suspicious of kind people, it makes you suspicious of yourself. You start thinking, why can't I just accept this? Why do I always have to make things difficult? Why can't I just be normal and let someone be nice to me? And that self-judgment becomes another layer of the problem. Now you're not just dealing with the discomfort of receiving kindness, you're also dealing with shame about having that discomfort in the first place. But let's be clear. This reaction isn't a personality flaw. It's not you being ungrateful or self-sabotaging or commitment phobic or any of the other labels people love to throw around. This is a trauma response. This is your nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do, which is keep you safe based on past experiences. The problem is it's using old data. It's applying lessons from a time when kindness wasn't safe and assuming that's still true now. Because maybe back then, when your mom was being extra sweet, it meant she was about to ask you to do something you didn't want to do. Maybe when your dad was in a good mood, it meant you had a small window to ask for something before the mood shifted. Maybe when a teacher praised you, it was always followed by, "but you could do better." Maybe every act of generosity came with a price tag you'd have to pay later. Maybe you learned that people are nicest when they want something, or when they're about to leave. So your body learned to read kindness as transactional, as temporary, as conditional. And now, even when it's not, Even when someone is being kind just because that's who they are, your system can't fully believe it. It keeps waiting for the transaction to reveal itself, for the condition to be stated, for the temporary to expire. This is why you might push away the people who are healthiest for you, why you feel more drawn to people who are inconsistent, unpredictable, or emotionally unavailable. Because chaos feels like home, uncertainty feels familiar. You know how to navigate those dynamics. You've been doing it your whole life. But steady, consistent kindness? That's the foreign language. That's the territory you don't have a map for. And the really painful part is that when you do this, when you pull back from kind people or test them or create distance, you're not doing it because you don't want connection. You're doing it because you want to control when the pain comes. If you push them away first, if you find the flaw, if you prove to yourself that their kindness wasn't real, then you don't have to experience the devastation of them leaving on their own terms. You get to be right. You get to say, "See, I knew it." And being right, even when it hurts, feels safer than being surprised. But here's what that costs you. It costs you the chance to experience what real, unconditional care actually feels like. It costs you relationships with people who could actually see you and stay. It costs you the opportunity to rewrite the story your nervous system has been telling you since you were young. Because every time you reject genuine kindness, you're reinforcing the old belief. You're telling your brain, yes, you were right to be suspicious. Yes, kindness isn't safe. Yes, we should keep our guard up. And look, nobody's saying you should just force yourself to trust everyone who's nice to you. That's not realistic, and it's not safe either. Because the truth is, some people are performatively kind. Some people are nice because they want something. Some people use kindness as manipulation. Your instincts aren't completely wrong, they're just overactive. They're applying a necessary skill from your past to situations where it's not needed anymore. The goal isn't to turn off your radar, it's to calibrate it. It's to learn the difference between someone who's being kind because it serves them and someone who's being kind because that's just how they move through the world. And the only way to learn that difference is through experience, through slowly, carefully letting safe people in, through testing the waters with small vulnerabilities and seeing what happens, through watching if their kindness stays consistent over time or if it shifts based on what they need from you. This means you're going to have to sit with the discomfort. You're going to have to let yourself feel the anxiety that comes when someone is too nice and not immediately run from it or ruin it or build walls around it. You're going to have to practice saying thank you when someone compliments you instead of deflecting. Practice accepting help instead of insisting you're fine. Practice letting someone care about you without immediately trying to figure out what you owe them in return. And it's going to feel terrible at first. It's going to feel vulnerable and exposing and like you're doing something wrong. Your body is going to scream at you to stop, to protect yourself, to get out before you get hurt. That's normal. That's expected. That's your system doing what it's always done. But if you can breathe through it, if you can remind yourself that this feeling isn't evidence of danger, it's just evidence of unfamiliarity, you start to build new data, new experiences, new evidence that kindness can actually just be kindness. Because what you're really afraid of isn't the kindness itself, it's the loss of it. It's getting used to someone being there and then having them leave. It's opening up and then being rejected. It's believing you're safe and then finding out you're not. So your system tries to skip all of that by just never believing in the safety to begin with. If you never fully trust it, you never fully lose it. If you never let them all the way in, you never have to experience them all the way out. But that's not protection. That's prison. That's living your whole life in the waiting room of your own experience, never actually entering the places where real connection happens. And you deserve more than that. You deserve to know what it feels like to be cared for without conditions, to be seen without judgment, to be valued without having to perform or produce anything. Your body is not your enemy here. It's not sabotaging you. It's trying to protect you with the only tools it has. And those tools worked. They got you through. They kept you safe when you actually were in environments where kindness was conditional. But you're not in that environment anymore, and your body doesn't know that yet. So you have to teach it, gently, patiently, with compassion for how hard it's been working all these years to keep you from getting hurt again. This isn't about positive thinking or affirmations or convincing yourself that everyone is good and safe. This is about slowly expanding your window of tolerance for care, about letting your nervous system learn through repeated safe experiences that not all kindness is a trap, that some people really do just want to see you happy, that sometimes there is no catch. And when you catch yourself getting nervous because someone is being too nice, instead of judging that reaction, just notice it. Oh, there's that feeling again. My system is doing its job. It's trying to protect me. Thank you, body, for working so hard. And then ask yourself, is there actual evidence right now that this person is unsafe? Or is this just the old pattern showing up? Because most of the time, it's just the pattern, just the echo of an old wound. And you can acknowledge it without letting it run your life. Healing doesn't mean you'll never feel that nervousness again. It means the nervousness will come and you'll recognize it for what it is, a visitor from your past, a messenger trying to help with outdated information, and you can thank it and set it aside and choose to stay present with the person in front of you who's just trying to be kind. Because you're not broken. You're not too damaged to receive love. You're just someone whose system learned that love wasn't safe, and now you're learning something new. And that's hard. That's vulnerable. That's some of the bravest work a person can do. So be patient with yourself. You're not rejecting kindness. You're just learning how to recognize it. And that takes time. But you're worth the time. You always have been.